Hello and welcome to the show. Now, today it seems like all my guests are coming in from abroad. I chat to Junaid and Mohammed all the way in Malaysia, and there's an interesting conference coming up, which you're probably seeing on Deen Channel right now. And that conference is set to change the way that we do things, the way that we perceive things, and perhaps communicate Islam in a very different way in a very different time. We know that we face many challenges as a community around the world today. I think with the influence of media and narrative that is not always correct, I think those challenges are just mounting in a very political and very socio-political space. Joined in Malaysia, I've got Mohammed and Junaid, and they are known as the two white Muslims, which I found out recently. Two very jovial characters that I just met a couple of minutes ago, and I must be honest with you, it's perhaps what I want to see about Islam and with Islam, and that is people that greet you by smiling with you. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. No.
Fantastic to be here. Thank you very much for the
Absolute pleasure to be on.
Now, I first want to start off at the beginning. Two white Muslims. I don't know if you've got a band that's called that, but you are known as the two. But why? Okay. Logically, I get the two and I get the white part, but people refer to the two of you as that. It's a very interesting dynamic.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. We've no idea why people call us the two white Muslims.
And you can't think. And you can't think why.
We're reliably informed there's three very good reasons. Reason number one,
there are two of us.
Reason number two,
we're both white.
Most importantly though, reason number three,
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
That's phenomenal.
Muslim,
Alhamdulillah.
And incredibly proud to be so.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
So many Muslims with their heads held down at the moment, looking at the floor, and rather almost as if they're embarrassed.
Yeah, almost apologetically.
Apologising for being Muslim. This should not be happening. Around the world, people should be shouting from the rooftops, I am Muslim and I am proud to be so. Alhamdulillah. This is the natural state for humanity.
Yeah.
This is the natural position to be in. One, and having a relationship with our Creator, Allah, and following His commands that were given to us through the Quran and via our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we should all be like this. Should be genuinely proud to be like this.
It's just amazing listening to you, because at times I'm faced with, and we all are faced with, a community that doesn't appreciate what we do at times, and I think that's because you're probably born into a certain, and that's all that you know. But I think that you've been on the other side, people like you, ironically, would inspire us more. And if we think about this properly, me just listening to you for 5 minutes has already just brightened up my day, because two people smiling and I'm usually and I'm usually saying this because I think that sometimes we just has it become about wearing the turban and a long beard and shouting at everybody, these are the 10 quickest ways to get to hell. And is that what Islam is about? Or is Islam about meeting these two people that smiles about it and is able to bring some, and I'm more attracted to your version than what I sometimes see on the road.
The prophetic example is to smile.
Yes.
Correct.
It's to be nice to people.
It's a sunnah to smile.
Be to people as you would want them to be to you.
The number of times though we've been to a khutbah or we've been to a speech and there's some bloke kind of shouting at us and pointing at us and saying, you're going to burn in hell.
Yes.
Can you smell the sulphur? And we're like, what?
I thought God loved me.
I think God loves us.
So
Read the Quran. It starts with Bismillah, Rahman, Rahim.
Yes.
The Rahmah, the merciful.
It should be about love, it should be about joy, you should have a smile on your face. Your life today, make the most of every day.
I think it's
We're all on a journey. We're all on the same journey. We're all going back to Allah. Yeah? Now there are a number of choices as to how you behave and how your demeanour appears on that journey. I choose to wear a smile. I choose to be happy on that journey. I want to get back to Allah without becoming toast. Inshallah.
So,
If we can do that, then that's success.
but that's amazing. I think if you look at the psychological construct, and there are two schools of thought here, and the one is to talk about punitive action and punishment for everything, and then the other one is to guide people through reward, and to say that if we do the following.
It's like the two ways to motivate anybody is either through fear or desire. Okay, so people fear the consequences of not doing something, or people fear the outcome or the desire, the outcome of doing something.
Yeah.
So it's fear or desire. In a lot of Muslim communities, I see that the emphasis is on fear.
Correct.
And I really think that is something that needs to change.
Yeah.
They need to redress the balance there and bring the emphasis back to joy and back to I want this. I want the outcome of Jannah.
Yeah.
I want the outcome of having a good life in this dunya, leading to a better life in the hereafter, inshallah.
Yes.
It
Indeed.
should be about desire.
Yeah.
Correct, yes. Now we have, I want to tap into your journeys, but before I do that, I just want to briefly just touch for a few minutes on the conference. There's this amazing conference that's starting, and take me quickly from the top, because I got this call from Julian Trolin in the last few minutes, and last year he had this documentary called Freedom, and it was my birthday on the 6th of May last year. I was in Thailand on some boat, and I decided to then put on his Freedom t-shirt, and that's what I wore, and that's where Julian and I formed some type of friendship. And suddenly he phones me last week and says this conference is happening on, and I just want to quickly touch on the conference, and then I want to touch on your lives and how that fits into the conference, because I really want to personify the aspects of the conference.
Yeah.
Briefly about the conference.
Okay. So the new Muslim World Conference, the first of its kind, took place in the UK in December. That's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We were the hosts for that conference.
Wait, when you say new Muslim, when you say new Muslim,
Sorry, say again.
you say new Muslim. Okay.
New Muslim, yes, yeah. And so we hosted, it's called the New Muslim World Conference, and we were the hosts there, because when they were looking for hosts, they were looking for somebody intelligent, they were looking for somebody stunningly attractive, knowledgeable, professionals, yes, yeah. In the absence of any of those, they went for cheap and affordable.
But when you say new Muslim, are you referring to the Muslims in the modern age? Are you referring to reverts? Or when you say new Muslim, what specifically are you focusing on there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both there, and certainly the people that have been invited to talk on the conference are all converts or reverts to Islam, because we recognise that Islam. 1 in 5 people around the world, 20% of humanity are Muslim, but it still leaves 80%. And so, to increase Islam means to gain converts to Islam, to gain people who revert back to this incredible religion. And so, one of the things that the conference does is celebrate the increase in popularity of Islam around the globe. But it also, in order to do that, kind of Islam is changing a little bit, or how we put Islam in front of people is changing. It has historically been seen as a foreign religion. Certainly, we're from England. We're actually from Leeds, which is the north of England, so we're Yorkshiremen. And, if you spoke to most Yorkshiremen and asked them about Islam, they'd have a very outdated, very, very kind of backward-looking version of Islam. And actually, Islam is incredibly progressive. And it always has been throughout all the time. It's been progressive, it's given people rights. The film that Julian's put together, he's called Freedom, because the acceptance of Islam is to free oneself from all the other issues and negativity around you. And so it's kind of, it's celebrating the spread of Islam around the globe by inviting new Muslims to come and speak at a conference. But it is aimed at all of the Ummah. It's aimed at every single Muslim to unite and to get together and just celebrate being Muslim instead of apologising for it.
You know, that's a very interesting notion, because I think that many Muslims have sort of gone within, started rolling the shutter doors down and closing the door because of all this happening outside the house. But I think you're right. You need to take the approach that you're saying, and that perhaps is to use that instead as a springboard to say, now's the time for us to talk to you about what it's really about. But if the George Bushes and the likes of the world did not go out and call the war on terror and all these type of things, maybe they would not have done us a favor. Maybe they have done us a favor. It's how we view that.
I think they are. You know, there were some heinous things happening and unnecessary bloodshed.
Yeah.
And wherever that happens, it's an absolute human tragedy.
It's abhorrent.
It's appalling. That should never be allowed to happen under any circumstances. But you're right, it has actually done Islam a favour in the respect that people don't want to just believe the rhetoric. They actually want to find out for themselves, and when they do, most people are pleasantly surprised about what Islam actually is.
I want to...
Most people, when they get an understanding of it, they actually want to learn even more, to the point where a lot of people are now becoming Muslim, whereas a few years ago they would never have even considered even looking at Islam.
Of course. So that brings me, I really want to focus on something for the next 5 minutes, and that is your journeys, because you led me into that space, and that was, I look at the two of you and I'm thinking probably at some time in your life you might have been those Englishmen sitting there, and I see this Henry VIII picture sitting there without any information at hand. Correct, yes. So I see that in my mind, not being exposed, and what we call in psychology terms, the worldview is limited, because one is only restricted to the world that you see, and that's how you draw your perceptions, and that's how you make your decisions based on the conclusions that you've made. So I'm trying to just go very quickly, and I'm going to start with Mohammed. Mohammed, you sat there at some point. Were you really someone that was opposed to Islam, saying, what are these people doing? They're chopping people's heads off and they're doing all kinds of funny things? Were you one of those people, or were you balanced in between? How did you come over to the other side? Sorry, I sound like John Edwards. How did you cross over?
Go away from the line.
Yes, exactly.
How did I go through that change?
Yeah.
Transitionist.
Yes.
Okay, so my story is very simple. I was born and raised as a Roman Catholic. I went to church every Sunday. I was an altar boy. I went to Catholic schools. My uncle was a parish priest. I was a fully fledged member of the God Squad of the Catholic variety. So I had a great upbringing. I had the love of two great parents. I had the love of siblings, and I also had the love of God. I felt really special as a child. It was a good place to be. As I got older, and as I wanted to increase my knowledge, I started asking questions. And all I ever got was a patronising pat on the head, saying, "Just have faith, son, just have faith." Now, I don't often show this side of myself, and I keep this well hidden, but I am in fact a relatively intelligent guy. So just having a pat on the head saying "just have faith" son wasn't enough. I needed more, but it wasn't forthcoming.
So your mind was telling you something like, the minute somebody does that, your mind is saying, let me keep quiet, but that's not the answer, like, really. So your mind is working on that, yeah.
Exactly. So what I did was ended up turning away from the church. I didn't turn away from my faith in God. That's always been strong. But I turned away from the institution of the church, and I kind of went away. And I found myself drifting away for 10 years. Okay, now 10 years later, I found myself working in an office in a town called Bradford in England.
I know where that is.
Very large. Muslim population.
Yeah, you couldn't have land amidst more curry than anything else. I mean, that's where it all is, you know. So, yeah.
We call it Pravistan.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I am working in an office with Muslims, and I used to engage in conversation with them because I found them interesting.
Yeah.
I'd never encountered Muslims before. I found them really interesting, and I started asking them questions. And it's funny how they had more knowledge about Christianity than I had. They were Muslim. And I found that fascinating. But when I asked the similar kinds of questions to the one that I was asking before, they gave me answers in a way that I understood. And if
was it just answers?
No, it wasn't answers. It was evidence as well.
Was it backed up by several different?
They gave me all sorts of things to read. It was a fascinating experience talking to these people, and they ultimately gave me a copy of the Quran, and I read the Quran. It took almost 6 months to do that, and at the end of that I made my decision. This is who I am, this is what I want. And that was my journey to Islam.
That's amazing. And is your story very similar, Junaid, or?
In a way, I was born Church of England, so I was born a Christian in the Church.
Okay, so you are of Henry VIII then, because I mean he formed the Church of England, and
he started the Church.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the original.
Exactly.
Church of England. And so I was full Church of England. Went to church, went to Sunday school. As a child, I joined the most inappropriately named children's group. It was called the Crusaders, which I now realise not maybe the best name. I tell by your face, not the best name. But it was a Christian group.
When was it started? Like,
7 or 8.
was it started in the 16? Probably started in the 1600s or so.
But then, when I hit the teenage years, other things kind of appeared in my life. You know, like cars and football and girls and drink. Not necessarily all in that order. Do you know what I mean? And so, much like Yusuf, I still had a faith. I still had a faith in God, but maybe drifted away from the institution of the church. And then, some years later, I found myself. I had a great job. I had a great car. I had a nice house. You know, I had all the trappings of a really successful life. And I was running a training course, and it was a 2-week training course where we all stayed in a hotel. And I ran the training course, and you really get to know people because you're there with them for 2 whole weeks. And one of these courses I was running, there was 2 guys on it, and they weren't eating or drinking. And I just found that really odd. I thought, have I upset them? Have I offended them? So I gave them, is everything okay? They went, no, we're fasting. I said, sorry, what? What do you mean fasting? So we're Muslim. Oh, what does that mean then? And I just found myself having conversations with these guys, and they said, have you heard of Adam? I said, of course I've heard of Adam, he was the first man. And they said, well, actually he was the first prophet, and he was the first prophet of Islam. I'm like, what? And then they said, do you know Noah? And I'm like, hang on a minute, he's ours. Whoa, he's ours. You know what I mean? Have you heard of Job? Have you heard of Lot? Have you heard of Job? Have you heard of Joseph? No. Moses is definitely have you heard, do you know Jesus Christ? And I'm like, come on, man. Of course I know Jesus Christ. You know, and they said, well, he's a prophet of Islam. We love Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is amazing. We have an entire book in the Quran dedicated to his mom.
Correct.
And I'm like, what? My brain's going, does not compute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. But as they discussed it, actually, it made total sense. And all of a sudden, all these questions that I'd asked as a child, I now found answers to them. And so I got answers to questions I didn't know I'd been asking, if that makes any sense at all. So all of a sudden it made sense that, well, how can there be a God and a Son of God and a Holy Spirit when actually we should just be worshipping God? We should just be worshipping the one creator, the one deity. And it just made sense. And all of a sudden there was now a timeline of prophets, all the way from Adam up to the amazing Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I just found myself intrigued, and everybody else would disappear to the bar, everybody else would disappear and go to. And I'm just sat with these guys, just talking and talking and talking and asking questions. And then I just found myself thinking, hang on a minute, I can feel where this is going, you know what I mean? And so then I started looking for the flaws. If I'm completely honest, I started looking for the problems and the issues and anything to stop me taking this leap. And it took me 6 months to realise that I just couldn't find any. So 6 months later, that was me. I took my Shahada, I visited a mosque, and I became Muslim.
So these are two amazing journeys, and I think that the conference coming up is perhaps looking at how do we take all of that and put that on a platform and a forum to talk about, because I think it's one thing for people to see the two white Muslims on my show and listen to your brilliant story, which I'm totally...
Just as you said that, oh yeah, sorry to interrupt, but just as you say that, I have to do a shameless plug for our show as well. You see, we have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Oh, please do.
Called Two White Muslims.
Oh my God, interesting.
It's called Two White Muslims.
Viewers, you need to see that.
Yeah, so check us out on YouTube.
We're going to have that at the bottom of the screen.
While you're there, you have to subscribe, and you have to share, inshallah.
It's the law.
It is.
It's the law.
It's the law.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't commit you to anything.
And we know that it doesn't.
It doesn't cause premature death.
But we're not going to be held to that one.
No. If you subscribe and then die, don't hold that against.
Don't put money to us.
And if someone steals one of your videos, you're not going to cut their hands off because it's not the law. Okay. Okay. So.
But it's just a way of getting that message. So, forgive me. Sorry.
No, of course, and thank you for that. And we would be sure to put the details at the bottom of the screen for you. But the interesting thing here is that do you believe that a lot of work needs to be done? And that's going to come through the conference in terms of reverts, because I think that sometimes, it is my opinion, that sometimes we are easy to call somebody and give them the fact and the laws and the rules and whatever. And sometimes we harden them because we don't always understand that they've got this frame of reference in their mind that has developed their thinking over 30 years and 40 years. And sometimes we go in there with a punch, which we shouldn't at times do because there is no compulsion. But in the end of the day, do you think that this conference is going to help reverts out there? Because I do sit with many reverts that says that I walked up to an imam, he said, read the Shahada, but what now? I don't have the support that I need.
You're right. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Conversion to Islam. Step 1, take the Shahada. Step 2,
Yeah, exactly.
Where do I go now?
Yes.
We need an aftercare program for new Muslims. We need to be sure that new Muslims are going to be helped, coached, educated, and just really coached along.
Yeah. Within the context of
safe for them.
Yeah, well, within the context of a revert.
You mustn't. Oh, forgive me.
Yes, I'm saying that coaching that Mohammed's talking about is within the context of a new Muslim. The coaching for me as a born Muslim is different to the coaching of a Muslim that's a revert, because you're dealing with, and I keep on bringing this aspect up, that you're dealing with frames of references. You cannot expound on something within 15 minutes, yet I've been brought up with something I'm now 42, I know things for 42 years of my life, but I expect within 42 minutes to get something across, to change somebody. And I think this is where Muslims are going wrong. We are going wrong as born Muslims in that way. And I know some people is going to take exception to what I'm saying, but it's the truth. You have to handle people with kid gloves, and we don't always have those kid gloves when we are born Muslims. And perhaps it is excellent for the two of you to be involved in this conference, because you're able to do it from a disposition that is different.
Yes.
I mean, the other thing, people tend to be drawn to people that are like them. It's a natural thing. If I came to live in Malaysia, there's a strong possibility I would seek out expat Brits. You know what I mean? We tend to be drawn to people that are very much like us. But I find that if we go to India, all the Muslims are Indian. If we go to Pakistan, all the Muslims are Pakistani. If we go to England, most of the Muslims are Indian or Pakistani.
Correct.
They're not English. They are English, they are British, but they're not white British heritage.
British.
And so we need to change that. We just need to make it so that one thing that Islam does, it celebrates diversity.
Correct.
It embraces the whole of humanity, and we just need to move that forward. And one way for us to do that is just to speak to people, because they tend to be drawn to us because we look a little bit like them, perhaps. I don't know.
Correct.
But coming back to what you were saying with regards to putting our message across, we still need to, though, because sometimes I wake up in bed and I'm startled, because I think, wow, if I hadn't run that training course, and if I hadn't met those people, I might now be walking a very different path. Do you know what I mean? And that kind of scares me. Now I know Allah knows everything, and Allah had a plan, but that scares me. And I think, well, we need to pass that on then. They did that for me. They did that for Yusuf. We need to pass that on. It's an obligation, but it's also a blessing.
Correct. And I also think that we have a fundamental issue within our Islamic social circles that is a fundamental flaw, and that is that I've called this insular behavior many times. And if those Muslim colleagues of yours did not sit with you and just have casual conversations or have tea and coffee, then you probably would have, okay, I know you say that Allah has a plan, but scientifically and clinically speaking, we would have headed a different route. Muslims need to reach out. We need to speak more to other people. We need to start including other people. We're not doing enough of that. If I go home tonight, the only people that's invited to my house are other Muslim people. It's the only people I see on Friday after Jummah. It's the only people I see most of the time at the office. But as long as we're doing that, we're doing an injustice deluxe, and that's what it is. So I'm hoping that some of the things that would come up in the conference, but if you can just take me through the practical aspect of the conference, time, dates, what's the lineup looking like, that sort of thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, first of all, the conference is running for a full 12-hour show. So it's a 12-hour conference. It's going to be broadcast live on the internet. We've had so many people ringing up saying, is there parking? Are you providing lunch? And we're like, it's on the internet. It's on the internet. You don't have to park your car. You don't have to be in Malaysia. It's on the internet. It's broadcast for 12 hours, but then it's repeated immediately. So in effect, it'll run for 24 hours, 12 hours followed by a further 12 hours. We've got a whole host of... Is that... Can we take that turn off? Yeah. Forgive me, we've got another phone ringing.
No, it's fine. Luckily we're editing, so it's fine.
So we've got a whole host of speakers. We've got 12 speakers in the conference. We've got Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green, who we've met many times. He's a British convert and widely known around the world. Gabriel, we were with today. Gabriel Al-Rahmani, we were with today. He moves around the world, but he's based in Malaysia just at the moment. He's the principal of a school, a Muslim school, Islamic school in Malaysia. Amazing. We often say, when it comes to Gabriel, Allah gave with both hands. This guy is humble, but he's also good looking, and he's 6'4". Do you know what I mean? It's just not fair. It's not fair. I don't like standing next to him. It's not fair. You know, two old men with beards, and then him. It's just not fair. We don't stand a chance.
We've got Dr. Bilal Phillips,
yes,
giving a talk.
Yeah.
We've got Muslim Bilal, the singer, the rap artist. We've got Arnoud van Doorn from the Netherlands.
You will struggle to find a
amazingly nice guy.
He's incredible, but his background is fascinating.
He was a politician, and he ran a party that was far right and anti-Islam.
I'm quite familiar with his. Yes, correct. And his rants.
Yeah, that's right. If I'm going to have a go at Islam, if I'm going to slate Islam, I need to learn about Islam. I need to study Islam. I need to read about Islam. And in the end, he ended up Muslim.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Islam. He's an amazing guy, really, really nice guy. I've got Tyrone Smith. I'm right, he's a Kiwi. Yeah. Kiwi convert. Yeah. Yusuf Chambers. Yeah. So Yusuf Chambers is going to be on there. Hamza is going to be on there. Batul Al-Toma. Wow.
Amazing character. She's wonderful.
She's a lovely
She headed the aftercare program for new Muslims in the UK for many years.
Yeah.
And she's got an awful lot to say. about that kind of program. The
Yes.
support that new Muslims need. Yeah.
We've got Fiona Karubi. We've got a very good friend of ours, Astada Amina Blake. Alhamdulillah, she's amazing, isn't she?
She's so knowledgeable. She's a scholar of Islam.
Wow.
She's such an orator and a speaker. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
And one of her very good friends is also speaking at the conference. This is Sister Lauren Booth. I don't know if you're aware of her.
Yes, of course we are.
It is.
Yes, we are. She has stopped, I think, many times in South Africa. So
Good, good stuff.
And again, Lauren is something that we know and adore. We love Lauren, don't we? She's amazing. She's just written a book. She's publishing that. She's going on a worldwide tour, but she's taking time out for a worldwide tour to come and speak at the conference. She's also then taking her book, transferring it into a play, and she launches that at the Edinburgh Fringe. And who is she getting to host that?
We're hosting that with her as well.
Wow. And as a special guest, we also have Eddie from the Dean Show.
okay, that's interesting.
So Eddie from the Dean Show.
Love Eddie. He's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
a really, really good lineup.
Now,
On top of that,
you've got the two white Muslims.
of course, I forgot to mention, what more do you want? You've got two Muslims. But also, you mentioned the film Freedom. The director, Julian Drolan, spent a great deal of time interviewing 50 reverts to Islam from 25 different countries, and he's put their stories together and made a film and called it Freedom. And alhamdulillah, it's beautiful.
It can make you laugh and make you cry at the same time.
Yeah.
of course.
This is a beautiful film.
It's amazing.
You know,
and
Savannah.
the entire 90-minute film is also going to be broadcast during that 12 hours. So alhamdulillah, it's an incredible lineup.
Of course, that sounds really.
Great lineup of interesting speakers, interesting topics. We've got the first
Mediocre hosts.
yes, strange hosts. You know, they should do better next year.
I think so, yes.
But we've got the first screening of the film Freedom.
Yeah.
We're all very much looking forward to this. Alhamdulillah. Now, people can find out about this conference and people can get to see this conference by going to our website.
They can register completely free of charge to watch this, and the website is NMW. I nearly forgot.
New Muslim World.
New Muslim World.
NMW
NMW. New Muslim World. NMW Conference. I'm not touching your screen. There we go. NMWconference.com. And if they go to NMWconference.com, they can register completely free of charge and watch the whole conference.
So everything is absolutely free of charge, and they can simply go to the website, register, and join. And even if is there a cut-off time for registrations, or can they just go in and register?
No,
They can register on the day.
even on the day.
We're encouraging people to register beforehand. I don't know if they have bandwidth issues, but I just don't want people to get on the day and not be able to register. So if you register beforehand, just to make sure that you're registered, brilliant. But you can also register on the day if you want.
Of course, and that's 12 hours. And then, could they interact with you at all, or are they simply watching, or are they able to interact with you?
Okay, so we're going out on YouTube and we're going out on a website, but also on YouTube, and also on Facebook Live.
And
Okay.
also broadcast across several television channels as well.
Television networks all over the world are taking us up on this.
Yeah, my understanding that the Facebook Live should allow people to get in touch.
Okay, fine, and that generally helps. I do that sometime on the show. I tend to at times do social media live, and I get some of your comments coming in through there, which works because it's a platform that people really think that they look. I mean, if people call it a TV show, they're very reserved when they call the show, but when they're on social media, you hear it as it is, and that's sometimes what you want to have, that robust discussion, even with people that are anti-Islamic. Maybe they could even join and start thinking about, and even if I'm certain you're open to the fact of them coming on and doing some level of vitriol if they want to, because that helps. I always say one thing, Mohammed and Junaid. I always say anyone should feel free to say anything, anytime, and anywhere, because if they're able to do that, then we're able to take that information and re-look at that and package. But sometimes we become too defensive when somebody says something, not realizing that that's your opportunity to sit down and say, listen, let's have a conversation about this. And that's what conferences are about, having those conversations.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
This is our total mentality.
This is our mantra.
Yes.
This is how we work. I want all issues on the table, and let's talk about them.
Yeah.
And let's solve any misunderstandings. Let's solve any misrepresentations.
Yep.
Etc. Etc.
Some people insist that the only way to be right is to prove somebody else wrong. You know, and it's just not the way to do it. It's offensive. It causes confrontation, it causes division. This is why we have problems around the globe. It's all about, we have so much in common with Christians. We have so much in common with those of the Jewish faith. You know, why? But somebody has to stand up and they have to focus on the one or two issues that are totally different, rather than celebrating the bits that we have in common and then discussing the things that are slightly different. It's just, this is how it's music to our ears. This is exactly how we look at the world as well.
Of course. Just in conclusion, and I'm going to start with Junaid on your side. So when you became Muslim, look, I mean, I'm again visualizing this Henry VIII scene in medieval times. Were you like burnt at the stake by family and friends, or what were family and friends saying?
No, it's a brilliant question. First of all, my family were amazing. They were incredibly supportive. The only issue my parents had, nothing to do with the faith, nothing to do with the religion. Their fear was for me as their son. And I actually came to Islam, and it was just after the horrible events of 9/11. So, you know, a lot of anti-Islamic rhetoric was being thrown around the whole of the world. And my parents were just concerned that I was joining a religion at a time when some people didn't really like that religion, if that makes sense. So their only fear was for me as their son. They had no issue with the religion, no issue with Islam, and were incredibly supportive. And my friends were just curious.
And your side, Mohammed, were you almost also burnt at the stake, or were you quite fine?
My parents are loving people, you know, and they're very careful about the practice of their faith as well. And what I did was I took the trouble to explain what Islam is and explain all the similarities between Islam and Christianity. And when I did that, they saw no problem at all, and really embraced the fact that I'd become Muslim and supported me all the way through.
That's amazing.
So I had no problem at all.
That's amazing.
No problems. And again, it's just about education. It's just about showing people that Islam is in fact a perfectly good religion. It is the truth. It's beautiful. It's peace. It's sincerity. Etc., etc., and just showing them that Islam is great.
And if I can add to that, the reception was also amazing from Muslims, because my parents were maybe a bit concerned that culturally there might be an issue, you know, and quite the opposite. I've been incredibly blessed that the Muslims that I've met are just amazing, you know, incredibly welcoming. The first time I went in a mosque, they did think I was there to check the fire escapes, you know, but with that exception, they've been, alhamdulillah, absolutely amazing. My wife is of Pakistani heritage. She's a born Muslim. My children, therefore, have been born Muslim. Alhamdulillah. If you'd have told me 25 years ago this was my path, I wouldn't have believed it, but I'm so pleased it is.
There is one thing that confuses me about you both.
I walked into a mosque, and a brother walked up to me and said, "You can't pray to your Jesus God in this place."
Oh, that's interesting. But
I said, shall we start this again, brother? Assalamu alaikum.
yeah, that's amazing. But there is one concern I have, though. Most people, when they revert, they would be changing their first names, but you seem to have changed their surname. Am I correct?
Yes. So when I got married, my wife was born Muslim. She's of Pakistani heritage, and we both agreed and decided we wanted our children to have Islamic names.
I see.
You know, we wanted our children to grow up and for people to look at them and know that they're Muslim. Because to look at them, you wouldn't know, but through their names, you do. So we changed our surname. We chose Rahim, and my wife chose my first name. So I'm the only man I know whose wife chose his name.
Because if that happened on a normal natural timeline, that would be dangerous. And your side, Mohammed, in conclusion?
Okay, so I chose the name Muhammad Yusuf, and that's two big names to live up to. We've got Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. May the peace, blessings and mercy of Allah be with him. If I could be 1% of what that man was, then I'd consider that a huge success. So it's a name that reminds me of who I am and identifies me as a Muslim.
Thank you for that, gentlemen. It's been an amazing episode for me. I generally head into lots of contentious issues, and I, after episodes, feel more...
But we met for years. We met for years.
I actually want to turn around and do a selfie of it.
So,
I'm going to send this picture with my wife. Will not believe me.
And,
She will not believe me.
you know, the funny thing is, I walk out of episodes at times feeling upset at people, and sometimes guests walk off a show, and all kinds of things happen because things get very brutal in this space. But today, I must be honest with you, I think in line with it being Ramadan and the fact that Muslims should smile more, I'm actually ending the episode smiling today for once. So that's what it's about. Gentlemen, thank you. We'll stay in touch, and we'll have the details on the screen shortly, all your details, including your YouTube channel. I would love people to go to that YouTube channel, because it's not Mr. Trump looking all sad and just things are not looking so gloomy today. It's two people that are white that's smiling, and that's what you should be going to see on their YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me. Mohammed and Junaid, for me, really embodied what I think the conference needs to be about. I think that sometimes we need to counter narratives that perhaps is not in the best interest of everybody, and I mean really everybody. The way that they tell their stories, the image that they exude, has made me feel that I'm going to log in and watch that conference. So do tune in. The details were on screen. The conference comes up in the next couple of days. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.